Hey guys, it's Aspasia and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to be talking about how to build the perfect workout program for a complete beginner in the gym. This video is going to be perfect for you if you're really eager to get into the gym and start lifting weights, but you literally have no idea where to begin. There's just so much information out there nowadays, and it seems like everyone is saying completely different things and everyone's making it so much more complicated than it needs to be. So as your personal trainer bestie, I'm going to break it down for you in super simple terms so you can make a really great workout program that will confidently get you results. Also, I know there are so many different goals that people can have, but this video in particular is for the novice gym goer looking for a super basic routine to start their journey. So if you're looking to lose some fat and build some muscle and just have no idea where to start, this video is for you. Before we get started, I just want to say huge congrats to you for taking the first step in wanting to better your health and get stronger. I promise it's not as scary as it seems. Everybody starts somewhere, so I'm really glad you clicked on this video. Okay, let's do it. Step number one is to figure out how much time you actually have to dedicate towards training in the gym. It's important to be realistic about this. I have clients who want to jump into 4 to 5 times per week, but this leads to burnout and can be really overwhelming. But on the other hand, I have people who say they can't even get one day in the gym, which it's really important that you do prioritize your health for so many different reasons, and strength training is just so good for so many things. Not just fat loss, not just muscle gain. It'll improve literally every single other area of your life, so it is really important that you take the time and just figure out at least 2 to 3 days per week that you can dedicate to the gym. And yes, this does mean that you sometimes have to get a workout in, even if it's literally the last thing you want to do. I've been going to the gym for over 12 years now, and I still don't want to do it sometimes, but I make myself because it's really important to keep the promises you make for yourself. It helps you become a more disciplined and confident person, which again bleeds into every other area of your life. And that being said, I've found that 2 to 3 times per week strength training is the perfect sweet spot for beginners so that you make progress, but also don't burn out and feel guilty when you can't commit to the 4 to 5 times per week that you really thought that you could do. And if you program it right and have the right intensity, which of course we'll talk about in this video, 2 to 3 times per week should be perfect for the average busy individual who just wants to gain some muscle and get all of the other great benefits that come along with strength training. With that being said though, it is important that you're doing the right things on those 2 or 3 days to make sure that you're training optimally in a shorter amount of time. So if you're going to start with strength training 2 times per week, the best split is going to be 2 full body days. Full body just means you're going to be hitting your upper and lower body every single time you're in the gym. Each of these are going to be at least 45 minutes to an hour, really focusing on starting with those compound movements and adding 1 or 2 accessory movements at the end of your workout. A compound movement is just an exercise that works more than one muscle group at the same time. So for instance, a squat is going to target your quads and glutes, but also your calves and other smaller muscles in your lower body. Another example is a bench press, which targets your chest and your shoulders, but also smaller muscles in the upper body like your triceps. These compound exercises take the most energy to perform, which is why you want to program them at the beginning of your workout when you have a lot of energy to use. And then at the end of the workout, you can add those accessory or isolation exercises. And these are just going to be the exercises that target only one muscle group. An example of an isolation exercise is going to be like a tricep press down that only targets your triceps, or the hamstring curl machine that's only going to target your hamstrings. Honestly, if you're really short on time, you could skip the isolation exercises altogether. But if your goal is to build certain muscle groups like the quads, I would focus on maybe doing some quad extensions at the end of your workout. Or for a lot of women, they want to grow their glutes, so I would focus on something like a hip abduction or a hip extension also at the end of your workout. And if you guys want me to film an entire video on all my favorite exercises that have helped me build muscle over the years, let me know and I'll be happy to make that for you guys. Also, if you're interested, I do have a follow along upper and lower body workout on my YouTube channel, and I'll tag those somewhere in this video. Okay, so if you're gonna work out 3 times per week, the same thing applies with the isolation and the compound exercises. You just have a little bit more wiggle room on how you want to do your split. Of course, you could do 3 full body days, that's totally fine. I would just make sure with any of this that you're taking at least 24 to 48 hours in between each muscle group. But for instance, if you're a woman and you really want to work on your glutes, you could add 2 lower body days and 1 upper body day. So you could do 1 lower where you're focusing on hamstrings and glutes, 1 where you're focusing on quads and glutes, and then the 3rd day would be just full upper body. And then on the other hand, if you really want your upper body to grow, you could do a traditional push-pull leg split, which is what I started with in my journey. That's just push being chest and triceps and shoulders, and then pull being back and biceps. And then of course you have your one lower body day where you do a full lower body. This is totally based on you and your goals, and you can even play around with this, but those are just a few options for splits if you want to do 3 times per week. Okay, before we go any further, I want to strip it down to literally the bare basics and explain to you guys what reps and sets are. I'm sure if you're watching this and you've done any sort of workout, maybe this is going to be common knowledge, but I know there are some people talk about reps, sets, and you're just like, what is going on? I don't even know what that is. So let me just explain to you really quick. So each repetition or rep is going to be when you go through an exercise just one time. So with bicep curls, going up and down, that's 1 rep. With a squat, you squat into it and go up, that is 1 rep. Now each set is gonna be that group of reps that you just did. So if you do bicep curls 12 times, that is 1 set. Then you're gonna rest in between, 12 more reps, and then that is your second set. It's really not necessary to overcomplicate this. No matter what your goal, I'd aim for a rep range of about 8 to 12 and a set range of about 3 to 4. Hey, real quick, if fat loss is your goal, I do have a Fat Loss 101 guide breaking down weight loss into 3 simple steps so that you can start making strides towards your goals today. And that is totally free in the link below. Okay, now that we have that down, let's talk about the intensity that you should be bringing to each workout. Because you're only strength training 2 or 3 times per week, your intensity can be a little bit higher because you have more time to rest and recover in between sessions. And to track intensity, I always recommend that clients stay within 2 to 3 reps from failure. In simple terms, this just means at the last rep of every exercise, you could literally only do 2 or 3 more literally with a gun to your head. So if you're finished with your 12 reps and you could easily do like 15 or 16 more, that is way too light and you should go up in weight. And especially for beginners who have no idea where to start, this is a really good gauge on how much weight you should actually be lifting in the gym. I would start with the weight, try to get to 8 reps, do that for a week, then add 9 reps, then 10 reps, then 11 reps, all the way up to 12, and when 12 gets super easy, you just up the weight. And this is called progressive overload, but don't think about that right now. We'll get into that in 1 second. I just wanted to mention that the rest times between sets just depend on the movement that you're doing. So for those heavier compound movements that take a lot more energy, you can rest 2 or even 3 minutes between sets. For those isolation exercises, at least 30 seconds to a minute is plenty. Okay, now one of the most important aspects of any workout program is progressive overload. I talked about this just a second ago, but progressive overload is basically just making each workout more difficult every single week to challenge your body and maximize your results. If you take anything away from this video, please let it be this. You need to be making your workouts harder each week in order to see results. A lot of people think that this just means increasing the weight that you're lifting every week, but progressive overload can actually be a bunch of different things. You can increase your reps and sets, decrease your rest time, improve on your form, go slower through each movement. There's a bunch of different ways to progressively overload. It's just really important that you're doing it. It's a really big misconception that you need to confuse your body and do a bunch of random different workouts in the gym every single week, but this is actually the opposite of what you want to do. Sticking to a consistent workout program for 4 to 6 weeks and using progressive overload to get stronger will help you see the results that you've always wanted and ensure that you're not wasting your time in the gym. Because getting to the gym and getting a workout in is hard enough. You don't want to be stressed out and confused about whether or not your workouts are even working or whether you're going to see results or not. Even if the program that you end up building from this video seems a little bit repetitive and maybe a little bit boring, that's a good thing. That is how it should feel. But to be fair, if you're progressively overloading and challenging yourself enough, it shouldn't be boring, it should be fun, in my opinion. I love working out though, so eventually, hopefully you'll get there too. And I also just want to say before I end the video that cardio is super important, not just for fat loss, but for cardiovascular health and all of that. But for the sake of this video, I'm not going to dive into cardio. I just wanted to really focus on weightlifting because that's where I see the most confusion and the most anxiety about going into the strength training section in the gym. And I really want every single one of you to feel confident and strong in that weight section in the gym. So I really hope this video helped you understand how to build a solid but simple workout program that'll help you get those results you've always wanted. Please let me know if there's anything that you want me to go more in depth on in other videos, and leave any questions you have in the comments below. And you guys, we are almost at 100 followers. We're at 73 right now. I cannot thank each and every one of you enough. But if you haven't subscribed and you found this video helpful, please subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a video from your personal trainer bestie. I also post every single day on my TikTok and Instagram. I'll link that below too. Bye guys.